Warning, these tips won't work. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips for disordered eaters that won't work. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. And if you want to speak with me, there is a link below. Start your YouTube channel and start producing content today. Check out the Creative Business Academy with Essetino artists. There's also a link below. Let's talk about some tips that won't help you and that won't work. You've probably heard them before, that you have to have a better diet, you have to take care of your emotions, you have to think positive. None of this stuff is bad. I just don't think it's going to be the complete picture, and I don't think it's going to lead you to a complete recovery. So I want to highlight some of these misconceptions. In a previous video, I identified the most important thing in eating disorder recovery, and I said that you need to live a cool life. You need to have goals, you need to have a vision, you need to have activities that you really enjoy. While that's not the complete solution, I think that is a missing ingredient in a lot of recoveries. But in this video, I'm going to give you some tips that won't necessarily help you. By eliminating what doesn't work, you can focus on what does work. Tip number one, you have to have the best diet. You have to eat the exact number of calories that you need a day. You need to have the exact right macros. You need to eat whole, unprocessed, plant-based food. You have to eat everything has to be perfect. Every meal has to be perfectly curated. It has to be Instagram worthy. While it is important to have quality in your diet and you should focus on making better choices each and every day, after all, you make 100 to 200 choices about what you eat each day, it doesn't mean that everything has to be perfect. You don't have to scan the ingredient list of every food you eat. You don't have to check the menu before you go to a restaurant. You don't have to be OCD and neurotic about everything. The truth is, you don't have to have the highest quality diet in order to recover. If you have an ED, your problem is quantity. You either eat too little or you're eating too much. Oftentimes it's too much. And it doesn't really matter what the quality is. If you're flooding your body with unnecessary calories and nutrients, it's not going to help you and you're only going to be sicker. This is why I think you need to focus on quantity before you focus on quality. Once you can control proportions, once you can control what you eat and put in your mouth, then you can focus on quality. And it doesn't matter which diet you go on. You can do keto, you can do vegan, you can do Whole30, whatever else is popular right now. It seems to change every day. The truth is, if you can't control these things and this, it doesn't matter which diet you're on. You're only going to be compliant for a few days, maybe a few weeks. A diet is only as good as your ability to control what you eat, and that's what this channel is about. Next tip that won't work is you have to eliminate certain foods. I am not a big fan of elimination diets. However, in certain phases of recovery, it is important to abstain from certain foods. If there is something that you can't control, then it's probably a good idea to keep it out of your home, keep it outside of your reach. If possible. If you live with family or you live with other people, that's not always the case. Just do your best. But I do think that when you are trying to create new habits, trying to overcome a disorder, whatever, you need to stay away from certain foods that are triggering you. Maybe that's ice cream, maybe that's apple pie, maybe it's cheesecake, I don't know. It's usually high in fat, high in sugar. Okay, that's usually what people binge on. People don't binge on kale. So in those early phases, when you're trying to establish new habits and your recovery is really fragile, then it makes sense to stay away from certain foods and to eliminate them for a certain time. I don't think that you need to eliminate certain foods forever. In fact, I think that mentality leads to a lot of binging. It leads to that Last Supper effect. When you tell yourself you're never going to have something ever again for the rest of your life, you're more likely to binge on it because you're never going to have it again. Never tell yourself that you're never going to have something again. Even if that's true and you never do, just don't predict it. It's like telling yourself you're going to go on a 7-day lemon water fast and giving yourself license to overeat, overindulge because you're expecting that 7-day lemon water fast. For that reason, I'm not a big fan of pre-planned fasts. Tip number 3 that won't work, you need to have a lot of friends. Some people have a lot of friends, others don't. Some people are more extroverted, others aren't. Some people love to go out, others don't. Me, I'm extroverted. Okay, I like to stay in, I like to make these videos, I like to read, I like to learn things, I like to work out, I like to travel alone, I eat out alone. Okay, so I'm introverted. Okay, I don't have tons of friends. That doesn't mean I don't like social contact. It doesn't mean I don't like going to conferences. In fact, I feel the opposite. I'm actually energized when I do that. But most of the time, I need to be alone. I need to have that flexibility. I need to have quiet time. I don't want people around me all the freaking time. So if you're naturally introverted and you have an ED or you have some bad eating habits, you don't need to go get a bunch of friends. You don't need to join a bunch of clubs. You don't need to do things that you're not going to enjoy, is what I'm saying. Do things that you enjoy. That's what I was talking about in my last video, the most important thing in ED recovery. You need to add more things to your life that energize you and make you feel alive. The fourth tip that won't help you, you need to soothe yourself. I have read in multiple places that if you have this urge or this craving to overeat or overindulge, whatever, that you need to go take a bubble bath or call a friend or journal or, listen to music or... Okay, when you have a craving for something specific, maybe a lot of food, that's all that craving wants. You cannot get rid of a craving by doing something else. Cravings come and go. They can't make you do anything. They can feel uncomfortable. And that's usually how they make you take action. They create that agitation so that you give it what it wants. But ultimately, it's you that decides. You have control over this. I know not everybody agrees with me, but in ED or any addiction, it is a choice. You are choosing in that moment to sacrifice long-term gain for short-term pleasure, because after all, you're going to change everything tomorrow, right? Don't try to soothe yourself when you have uncomfortable feelings. I think the adult thing to do is to confront them directly. Acknowledge those feelings and step back and acknowledge them as if you're a third party. Do not try to distract yourself. Don't try to avoid them. Don't pretend like they're not there. They are there, and they're annoying. I get it. You want to get rid of it, and the best way to get rid of it, or the fastest way, is to give it what it wants. So a lot of fat and a lot of sugar. But that only reinforces the cravings in the future, and it's only going to make it harder. Bad habits are easiest to correct today rather than in the future. Always keep that in mind. So if today is your last day, or if you're planning to go on some fast or some diet next week or next month, just understand it's only going to be harder then. It's not going to be easier. The next tip that won't help you is finding the root cause. I think it is important to go back and think, when did all this behavior start? What triggered it? What started it? Because when you were born, you weren't born this way. Nobody's born with an ED. Nobody's born with this impulse to binge and purge. You learned it on the way. It's not natural. Maybe there's a few cases here and there where somebody had some defective brain and it compelled them to act like this. Okay, but that's rare, and that's probably not you. You learned it on the way. Somebody taught you. You tried to get really skinny. You tried to restrict too much. You went on some crazy diet. But you don't need to go on a long hunt for root causes. Most of the time, when you look at an ED, it almost always goes back to restriction. Restriction is usually the root cause of most EDs. You went on some diet, you cut a lot of calories, you got a lot of success early on, and then you lost control, and now here you are, watching me on this channel. You don't need to go back to your childhood, you don't need to look at trauma in your life, you don't need to fix everything else in your life in order to recover from an ED, because the thing is, you're always going to have some level of instability. There's always going to be something that you're pining for that you don't have. There's always going to be something that you're not satisfied with. You're never going to reach a perfect point of satisfaction. You're never going to reach that equilibrium that you desire. There's always going to be something that's unstable in your life. So get used to it. That's really good because it means you can take action today. You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours looking for that root cause, when the root cause is probably some stupid diet that you went on multiple years ago, and here you are trying to fix it many years later. That's the destructive effect of diets. I've made videos about this before, but my main point here is that diets provide a temporary solution, but the effects of dieting can last for years. It affected me for over 10 years of my life, and if I had never decided to go on that first diet or to modify my behavior when I was 20 years old, my 20s would have been a lot different. The next tip that won't help you is improving your self-esteem. I read a book, it was an ebook back in 2012 or 13. I think I mentioned this on the previous video. What a dumb book that was. I don't even have it. I didn't even keep a copy of it. I think I read it once because it was so bad. Basically what it said was, you need to improve your self-esteem. Look in the mirror and tell yourself how wonderful you are. Nobody, even people like Tony Robbins or Les Brown or like motivational speakers, they probably have some insecurities. I guarantee you they do. Or if you look at the most beautiful celebrities in the world, I guarantee that there's some imperfection about their body that they obsess about every day. The truth is, nobody has it together. Nobody. You don't, your neighbors don't, your friends don't. Even people who seem to have it all, we've heard that, have it all, they don't have it all. There's something that they don't have. So you're always going to have some imperfection in your life. There's always going to be something that you don't have. Get used to it. A lot of things in your life aren't going to change. You're going to have imperfections. You're going to have insecurities. You're always going to have something that you don't want. That is human nature. We adapt to our present circumstances and we look at what other people have and we desire that. We're always desiring more. And the last tip that won't help you, love your body. I hear this a lot, just love your body, accept your body for what it is. There is some truth in that. You need to love your body and nurture your body because that's all you have, right? Your body is your vessel, okay? It's your temple, as they say in the Bible. So you need to take care of it. You don't need to hate your body. What you should hate is the behavior. You should hate the decisions that you make that are harming your body. Your body isn't the problem, it's that you're damaging it by making these bad decisions. Your body is screaming for you to stop these EDs and to overcome these behaviors and make new habits. Everybody has a different body size. Everybody's different. There are some characteristics that you cannot change. However, I do not accept health at any size or weight neutrality, because here's the thing. If you are 50, 100 pounds heavier than you were 10 years ago, 15 years ago, something's wrong. When I see an obese person, I see somebody who has gone on a diet previously or has an ED or has some really disordered eating patterns. Obese people don't end up obese naturally. Some people have, yes, a genetic predisposition towards it. I get it. But in the end, we control these two things right here. If you're 5 feet tall and 250 pounds, you shouldn't kid yourself. You need to make some modifications. You need to make some changes. You're killing your joints, you're probably killing your heart, and you're probably going to have some comorbidity or some medical problem in the near future, if you don't already have one. Obesity and overweight are not the natural condition of humans. I'm not saying you need to be a model or a fitness athlete. I'm not saying you need to have 6 or 7% body fat, six-pack abs, and V-shaped torso. I'm not talking about that. But be honest with yourself. When you look in the mirror, the mirror's giving you feedback. So don't kid yourself and say, I can be healthy at any size. Yes, you can, but look at the averages. And being 350 pounds on average is not healthy. What are some other bad tips that are not going to help you recover from an eating disorder or break bad eating habits? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you found this video educational and entertaining. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to speak with me, there is a link below. And start producing content today. Check out the Creative Business Academy by Essetino Artists. If you liked this video, I'm sure you'll like one of the other ones that you see on the screen. Click one of them, and I'll see you there.